Hello, my name is Nina Peckman. I'm the education attorney at Advocates for Children of New Jersey, and today I'm going to speak about harassment, intimidation, and bullying, student and parent rights. All New Jersey schools are required to implement harassment, intimidation, and bullying, known as HIB laws, policies and practices according to New Jersey statutes and regulations and guidance developed by the New Jersey Department of Education. There are also federal civil rights laws that require school districts to protect students from HIB motivated by discrimination. And you can see a link to these laws on the resource page attached to this PowerPoint. Well, certain district school staff are responsible to implement the HIB laws. The school principal is supposed to investigate HIB reports, notify parents, and report findings to the superintendent. Every school has a school anti-bullying specialist, and this person's duties includes preventing, identifying, leading investigation, and addressing HIB incidents. Every district also has an anti-bullying specialist at the Board of Education, and this person has a duty to coordinate and improve district-wide HIB policies, work with anti-bullying specialists, and report HIB incidents to the Board of Education and the New Jersey Department of Education. So what kind of conduct can be considered an HIB? First, it has to be based on certain characteristics: race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, disability, or what's known as any other distinguishing characteristic, which can include height, weight, hairstyle, to name a few examples. The conduct that is going to be considered bullying has to be reasonable to assume that was based on an actual or perceived characteristic. So an example of a perceived characteristic, let's say a student makes a verbal statement on a false assumption of someone's religion, race, or national origin. That conduct could still be considered bullying. So bullying can be a verbal statement, physical conduct, a written statement, psychological, or through social media, including cyberbullying. There are certain necessary circumstances to be considered an HIB. The bully should reasonably know under the circumstances that the conduct will physically or emotionally harm the victim, or the conduct will damage the student's property, or it is reasonable for a student who is a victim to fear physical or emotional harm. Other circumstances are that a student or a group of students are insulted or demeaned by the conduct, or when the school becomes a hostile environment because the HIB interferes with a student or group of students' education, or because of severe physical or emotional harm, that can lead to a conclusion that HIB occurred. One or more students can commit HIB at a single time. A teacher or other school employee can commit an HIB. And for school purposes, an HIB can occur at school, at a school-sponsored function, on a school bus, outside of school, and through social media. But if for a parent to request an investigation or for this kind of conduct outside of school to be considered an HIB, it would have to substantially disrupt or interfere with the orderly operation of the school or the rights of other students. So, for example, if outside school on social media, a student makes a political or gender-based statement, and the news travels, through social media from one student to another, and it could create a disruptive environment in the school, this conduct could be considered an HIB. HIB laws include a lot of particulars regarding the procedures that need to be followed. in terms of reporting HIB and then investigating and HIB and how the HIB is dealt with. So to begin with, any school employee who witnesses or has reliable information should report an HIB to the appropriate school administrator, verbally on the same day and with a written report within 2 days. In 2022, there was an amendment to the HIB laws, and significantly, staff must now fill out New Jersey Department of Education form HIB 338 to report each allegation of HIB, even if the staff doubt that the HIB occurred. And this can be, more information about this can be found on the resource page attached to this presentation. Parents can report an HIB to the principal through a verbal report, or the school may allow the parent to report HIB anonymously, submitting an HIB 338 form. Parents can use the form to report an HIB, and schools must promptly investigate a parent's verbal reports and fill out an HIB form in the case when the parent submits a verbal report. When an HIB is reported, the principal must immediately notify the parents of all the students involved. And this notification should include an explanation of the actual or perceived protected characteristics of the alleged offense. And before revealing information to parents, the principal should consider the sensitivity of the circumstances of the incident. The HIB must be promptly investigated, but no more than 10 school days from the date of the report. And the principal must send his decision or her decision to the superintendent, who must send the decision to the Board of Education. Now, the principal, in consultation with the anti-bullying specialist, may make a preliminary determination of whether HIB occurred. If they do this, they must assume all facts presented are true. In addition, preliminary determinations that HIB did not occur may be appealed by a parent to the Board of Education and then to the New Jersey Commissioner of Education. When HIB is reported, the Board of Education's written decision must be provided within 5 days to parents of all the students involved. These HIB reports must be kept on file in the school. Investigation results leading to HIB findings must be placed in the student's record. And students who commit 3 HIBs must get an intervention plan created by the principal and appropriate staff and approved by the superintendent. In addition, HIB information, in other words, these investigation rights, these reporting rights, rules regarding HIB must be on the school website. When there's an allegation of HIB, there are steps that a principal could take immediately to help the students involved before a final decision is reached regarding whether or not HIB occurred. So, for example, a support plan for the alleged victim could include counseling, parent conferences, evaluations, use of adult monitors in corridors, cafeterias, and on buses. Could lead to an IEP or 504 accommodations, or HIB training for employees and student programs. If a parent is not happy with the school decision, they have the right to challenge the school decision. A parent can write to the school board for a hearing within 60 days of the written decision, and this hearing must take place within 10 days of the written request. A parent may also file a complaint investigation with the County Office of Education if the district violated HIB laws. And decisions can be appealed to the Commissioner of Education. If a parent chooses this route, a commissioner appeal can be requested without first asking for a board hearing. Another option is to file a complaint with the New Jersey Office for civil rights when the HIB includes discrimination claims. Finally, a parent could file a due process complaint regarding IEP or 504 issues for a student with a disability who is the subject of an HIB complaint, of an HIB investigation. Talking about students with disabilities who are involved with an HIB, whether as a victim or as an alleged bully, it's a good idea to write to the IEP or the 504 plan team to discuss the issues. And at these meetings, it's recommended to invite the school principal and other relevant people, such as teachers, the HIB specialists, social workers, and community providers, perhaps working with the student. And the purpose of this meeting would be to discuss whether the conduct is based on the alleged bully's disability and if the behavior should be considered an HIB in the case of an alleged bully. With regard to an alleged victim, or whether it's a bully, there should be, the alleged bully, there should be a conversation regarding whether or not the IEP or 504 plan requires a modification, or if a new evaluation should be undertaken by the child study team to understand the reasons behind the conduct or how to better support the student in school. HIB can lead to consequences. Positive supports and alternatives to discipline and suspension are always ideally preferred as best practice. For example, written reflections, community service, or counseling. But negative consequences are possible and are within the school's ability to impose, such as temporary removal from class, loss of privileges, detention, an in-school or an out-of-school suspension, expulsion, and in certain cases, such as cyberbullying, assault, sexual conduct, the school would be able to report the conduct to the police, and in some cases would have to report the conduct to the police. If an HIB leads to a suspension, the parent has the right to appeal the suspension. It's advisable to request a meeting with the superintendent to try to resolve the disagreement regarding the suspension informally. If that fails, a parent can request a hearing with the Board of Education. A parent can request a return to school for a wrongful suspension by filing an expedited due process petition or a due process petition and request emergency relief with the New Jersey Department of Education. Parent can also appeal the board decision to the Commissioner of Education of the New Jersey Department of Education or contact the New Jersey Office for Civil Rights. Please keep in mind that discipline rights and appeal procedures are very complicated, so it is advisable to consult with an attorney or an advocate before undertaking an appeal of a suspension. Now, there are times when a principal determines that the conduct was normal peer conflict rather than an HIB. Well, normal peer conflict means typical social interactions between peers, such as insults, verbal, or physical fights. When helpful, school staff should and can, implement academic, behavior, social, and emotional interventions. Even if it's not an HIB. By the same token, disciplinary consequences for the code of conduct violations may be appropriate, even if it's not an HIB, meaning it could still have a student could have violated the code of conduct and could be subject to a disciplinary action. And here are some of the resources I mentioned during this presentation. Some are located on the New Jersey Department of Education website. There's a link here to federal laws and other information, to the 2022 amendment to the HIB regulations, and a link to the HIB reporting form for parents. You can find additional resources at ACNJ for anything from guides to special education, bilingual education, discipline, rights, and other helpful information. And you can find these resources at acnj.org/kidlaw. For more information and to request assistance with an HIB concern or any other education issue, please feel free to contact me, Nina Peckman. I'm the staff attorney again at Advocates for Children of New Jersey. You can reach me at npeckman@acnj.org, or you can call me at 973-643-3876, extension 226.